Rapper. A very strange concept for a game, but one that's jam-packed with style and a killer soundtrack. I remember first finding out about it when I booted up a PlayStation Underground disc when I was a kid. I wasn't very good at it then. I actually never beat the first track for the longest time.
Again. What?
However, I've since beaten the game many a time and have come to appreciate it for its charm. Let's talk about it. Why is this dog rapping with an onion? Why is he trying to get his license or bake a cake with a chicken? Well, my friend, our hero Parappa is love-struck with a sunflower named Sunny Funny. The plot sounds preposterous, I know, but it's actually a very charming story about believing in yourself and overcoming your fears of doubt. It's a coming-of-age story wrapped up in a rhythm-based video game from 1996. You can't get more original than that, ladies and gentlemen. The game centers around our titular hero Parappa as he goes off on an adventure of self-discovery while hanging out with his pals and working on his rap game. The game's scenarios are based around trying to impress a girl, learning to bake, driving a car, and various other things he tells himself he needs to be seen as attractive in the eyes of Sunny. Even though he tries his best, there are others that get in his way of being the person he wants to be, like our reigning tryhard Joe Chin, a dog with muscles, money, and an overwhelming amount of self-confidence. Parappa gets it in his head that is what people think as being desirable, so he sets out to better himself in our journey. Although the plot is pretty silly and over the top, it has a solid message of believing in yourself and setting out to strive in being a better version of yourself. Ignoring the people in our lives that bring us down and instead surrounding yourself with people that bring you up, making mistakes and learning from them.
How can I do that? Yeah, I know. I gotta believe.
Seeing how Parappa the Rapper is a rhythm game, it's pretty important that they get the music right. Parappa has a ton of really solid tracks that make the game as memorable as it is. These tracks will get stuck in your head, and you'll probably play each track quite a few times trying to master them. However, they do work really well. My favorite tracks are Cheep Cheep's Kitchen and the bathroom track, although we'll talk more about those tracks in particular later on. The actual structure of each track is pretty similar. Your teacher gives you some bars and you, Parappa, repeat them. Although the lines they feed you are entertaining, it's when you create your own mix is when the song becomes even more enjoyable. So you think you have what it takes to be a master rapper? Well, it's not as simple as something like Guitar Hero where you have to hit the buttons as they reach a set point. To succeed in Parappa, you have to feel the beat. I've noticed as I've started to examine this game further that the placement of the lines your teacher gives you isn't always the correct point to throw them back. What's more important is where the heads are at the bar, and not necessarily the button placement. Funny enough, I actually think the game is easier when you're not looking at the screen. I at times found staring at the buttons on top distracting and sometimes confusing. It's not too bad, however. It will take some practice. Chop Chop Stage is really the perfect place to get a good bearing of things. The actual gameplay is pretty basic. The buttons on screen resemble words, and when you hit the buttons, Parappa will say that word. However, you can get real cute with your mix when you're adding a D-pad. Sometimes a bunch of words will be tied to one button and Parappa will move on to the next word after having pressed it once. If you press down a button on the D-pad and one of the requested face buttons, Parappa will say only that specific word instead of continuing the chain. This will be important for when you think you have what it takes for cool mode. This game is notorious for being difficult, as your teachers are really picky about being on the right beat. So if you're even slightly off, they'll take away points and lower your ranking. I do find this somewhat frustrating because there will be times when I feel like I've done it at the correct sounding point, but I'd just be slightly off. Luckily, there is a consistency to the tracks and logic of your respective teachers. Cheep Cheep Stage is really the first time I felt that the game was being really cool about the timing. The neat part about Parappa the Rapper is when you finally feel like you've gotten the beat. You can start throwing out random lines and you'll be able to enter what is known as cool mode. Essentially, you'll be letting the teacher know that you've surpassed them, and from this point on, the teacher will leave you to start showing off your rapping skills. And if you beat the track on cool mode, you'll actually get a new ending for that track.
Parappa, I'm so proud of you.
After having mastered the rap game and finding yourself, Sunny and Parappa will finally fall in love as the story concludes. I love Parappa the Rapper. The music is great, the look and style is super memorable, and the characters are unique and quirky. While at times being super frustrating, Parappa the Rapper is one of the best games on the PlayStation, eventually getting a sequel on the PS2. If you want to give it a shot, it's since been released on the PSP and PlayStation 4 systems with a visual upgrade and bonus features.